We're back with a bonus conversation you'll only see here on CBS News New York. Another problem in Staten Island is the issue of congestion pricing, where people who live on the island and have very few ways of getting off the island feel it's unfair to have to pay another toll, since they already have to pay a toll on the Verrazano to come into the city. How do you feel about it? And are you thinking of suing?
Yeah, we oppose congestion pricing as a principle because, as you mentioned, Marcia, Staten Islanders have to pay, and we're the only borough in the city that has to pay to go from one part of the city to the other on the Verrazano Bridge. And then if you choose to go through the Brooklyn Battery or Hugh Carey Tunnel, there's another toll. And now they want to add a third toll. And the irony is the MTA, in our opinion, has not really invested in Staten Island for the last 40 or 50 years. We don't have a subway system. We don't have the equivalent of a Long Island Railroad or a Metro North. We have one train that goes from St. George to Tottenville, and we have a bus network. So by design, it has forced Staten Islanders to be more dependent on their cars. And that is in part because we don't have a robust mass transit system like they exist in other parts of the city. And now here come the folks who have not invested, who say, Staten Island, you're going to have to pay more. Their own study demonstrates that the air quality on Staten Island after congestion pricing will get worse.
Did they give you any money for mediation? I mean,
zero.
I mean,
zero.
Asthma money, anything like that?
No, that's why it's so wrong, right?
They did it in the Bronx.
Yes, we got zero, and as of now, we're getting zero. So you have
How is that fair?
It's not fair, which is one of the reasons we plan to sue, because again, while other parts of the city you'll see air quality will get better according to their studies, and they had to do it in such a way that they had to do for this year and the year 2045, so 22 years from now. Not only will it get worse next year, it'll get progressively worse over 2045. Traffic in their own study on Staten Island will get worse. So traffic will get worse, the air quality will get worse, and we'll have to pay for it. And I know what will happen. Because the MTA has spent so much in other parts of the region, which is their prerogative, when the money comes in, they're going to say, well, we have to invest in the existing infrastructure. So Staten Island probably won't get anything on the back end as well. I don't see it. I don't believe it. So for those reasons, we plan to sue to stop it.
Well, don't you think if they're going to be using this $15 billion a year that they said they're going to use for capital construction, that Staten Island, as one of the 5 boroughs, should be entitled to a piece of the pie?
You would think that folks who are on the verge of trying to implement this would have said that by now, and to date they have not. And we have years and if not decades of history with the MTA. As I mentioned, the failure to invest adequately. So it's tough to anticipate that, you know, this golden goose will come down. I don't see it happening. You know, there's an old adage about the Verrazano Bridge that when it was first opened 50 plus years ago, that the toll, and I don't necessarily agree with it, but the toll, which was like 25 cents or whatever it was at the time, is now one of the highest tolls in the nation. It's like almost $20 to go round trip. So once congestion pricing takes hold, that number is just going to keep going up and up and up. And I don't believe it as a matter of policy. I think it's more of a money grab. And I think that the people in Staten Island will suffer disproportionately, which is why we will fight it.
Okay, well, I want to give our viewers an opportunity to hear a little bit about who the Staten Island Borough President really is. So I'd like to ask you, what's the best part of your day?
The best, I love public service because I think at the core of it, you can try to help people and try to do things to make the quality of life for the people that I grew up with. They're my friends, they're my neighbors. I love Staten Island. Some of the greatest people I've ever met and continue to see. And if we can help them and their life, make their life a little better each day, that to me is what brings me the most satisfaction. So
do you have a hidden talent?
I don't know if I have any talents.
You have, obviously you got elected. You must have a talent.
I maybe fooled.
I mean, do you play an instrument? Do you cook? Do you?
I don't. Yeah, I love to. You know, just seeing how cooks cook because they want to nurture, right? So I enjoy that. I played an instrument when I was a child and sort of a little bit, but I like helping people, I guess, for lack of a better phrase.
Do you have a favorite diner on Staten Island?
A diner? Yeah, actually, there's a great, Staten Island is still hardcore, just, right down the middle. And one of the diners I like to go to pretty often is near our home, and that's Andrew's Diner. But there's a lot of good ones across Staten Island. So
if you could have 3 wishes, what would you wish for? 3?
3 wishes. Wow. I think that, not to be so corny, but we want people around us who are important in our lives to be healthy and to be well. I would hope that we can find, as a community, as a city, state, country, find more reasons to work together and to resurrect and reaffirm that this is the greatest country in the world, and there are so many potential for opportunities. So focus less on the negative and more on the positive, and frankly, to allow the younger generation to be better off than we are. And I think that was
great wishes. So Staten Island is a pretty unique place. I think you'd agree on that. What makes it so special? And is there anything that you would change?
What makes it special? Again, it's the people, right? So there's an island mentality. There's 500,000 people on Staten Island, and the old expression, there are 6 degrees of separation in this world, when Staten Island is about 1.5, right? There's a strong sense of community, a strong sense of friends that go back decades. The neighbors are important, communities are important, towns are important, and we're coming up on the eve of 9/11, which was a tremendous tragedy.
Yes.
And it hit Staten Island in a significantly negative way. But you also saw, to this day, here we are 22 years later, to this day, how the community still stands with the families of 9/11, who still support whatever they need, the young people who lost their parents, for example. And I think you saw that sense of community. So that's, to me, what makes it very special. Very patriotic people. We have a large contingent of veterans. We support their efforts for what they did to make this country great. Fire department, police department, folks who really love their community. And I think that's what sort of makes it special. There's no one thing other than collectively people are pretty darn tight. And that's why, to go full circle to things like a migrant shelter, you saw people from all over Staten Island come out because they know, hey, it could be me next. So we want to stand there in solidarity with our neighbors. What could I change? We could always, my view is, there's very few things in life that are constants, and change is one of them. And we should always figure out a way, how do we make it better? So you asked before about the job, how can we make things better, even if it's an inch? Sometimes there are those who want to do something comprehensive and, through the moon, which is fine. But if we can make something just a little better every day, I think we've done our job.
Staten Island Borough President Vito Fossella, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you,
and thank you at home for joining me as well.
Thank you.